Hey guys, welcome again to How Channel, where we show you how, and thanks again for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It sure does help the channel. Today we're going to look at how to create a 3D background, and this is something that can come in very handy when you're doing graphics or texts on top of graphics, just to liven it up a little bit. Now, as you can see up here, we have a graph, and it has a bar graph. It also has this thing going on here, the months, and this, we're just going to use this as a background, but the text that we want to put over it, I'm just going to grab it. It's over here, and I'm just going to drag it over top. And if I drag it over top, you can see it says 2023 precipitation was down by 2 inches. And here's a graph to kind of show that and so on. But as you can see, it's really hard to see the text. And it just looks kind of blah, kind of still, kind of static. And we want to give it a little bit of life. So let's just move this text back over here again and take a look at this graph and see how we can give it a little bit of a 3D effect to make the whole process just look a little bit more professional and a little bit more interesting. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to come up here to the right, upper right here to Effects, click on that, and I'm going to type in the words 3D. And if you look down here under the video effects perspective, you have a basic 3D effect. I'm just going to left click on that, hold down the left key, bring it down here to our graph and let go. And then it shows up here on the left hand side under Effects Controls, and there it is, Basic 3D. So now what you can do with this one is you can go to the beginning of where the graph comes in, and you can do these things here: swivel, tilt, distance to image. There's all sorts of different fun things you can play with there. So let me just start with swivel, and as you can see, as we do this, see how it swivels like that? Okay, so you can do that sort of thing. At the same time, you want to be careful here that when you swivel it, you don't have these black edges, right? So in order to get rid of those black edges, you might have to go up and scale it just a little bit bigger. See that? And then that'll give you the room that you need to swivel it. So let's say we start off here, and we'll just click that in there. And then let's say at the end here, we're going to go and we want it to be the opposite way, sort of like that. So that way, if you take it from the beginning and press play, you'll see that it just swivels like that, just kind of nice and slow, but it certainly gives it some room to move. If you want, you can keep adding things to it. Let's try something like tilt here. So let's say we start it like this, and we hit the stopwatch just to lock it in, bring it to the end, and then let's say we're going to end off sort of like that. Okay, so then we take it back, and you can see we have both tilt and swivel happening in the background, and of course you can speed that up or you can slow that down as you need it. So now if we take our text and put it over top, you can see that it looks really cool in the background. You have a little bit of movement there, but you still can't see the text very well. So what can you do? Well, there's a couple of things that we're going to do. First of all, we're going to go down again and click on our graph, and we're going to go here to opacity, and we're going to just bring it down a little bit like that. See how the text just pops out then when you bring it down? You can still see the graph in the background, but it's not the predominant feature you want to show, so it's okay to bring down the opacity. And then as you press play, you can see it says 2023 precipitation was down by 2 inches, and there's the graph behind there, and it's just a really nice effect. Now, if all of a sudden you have a background that's just a little bit too much, like all these words maybe competing with the words and the text that are up here, and you just want to disguise it a little bit better, well, it's just very simple. We go back to our old friend again, blur, and we go down to Gaussian blur, bring that down here to our graph, and it shows up here under Effects Controls, and then we can just blur out the graph just a little bit. There we go. Maybe not too much, just enough to show that it is a graph and that these are the months down here, and then we're just going to lock that in, bring it to the beginning and press play, and there you go. It's a little bit blurry. The opacity's down. It's swiveling. It's tilting. And it's just nicely in the background, but you can still read this 2023 precipitation was down by 2 inches, and you can read that very nicely. Now, the other thing that you can do, just going to give this to you too, is at the beginning here, if you want, you can click on your text, and you can just position that as well. So let's say it's there in the middle. Let's say we want it to come down. Like precipitation, right? Let it come down. So we're going to take it out with the values here. We're going to take it out of the way, and then we're going to lock it in, and then we're going to go to the end, and then we're going to bring it all the way down. So it's going to come all the way down like this and just go right out of the picture. Okay, and let's see what that looks like. Okay, and we press play, and here it comes. And you can slow that down or speed that up too. But that just gives you a little bit more motion. Maybe it's too much motion for you. I don't know. But you can play with that and change the values as you need it. So that's very simply how you can put a nice 3D background effect into some of the graphics that you do. And it's just that simple. That's how to do it right here on the How channel. I'm GJ, and thanks for joining me today. Thanks for liking, sharing, and subscribing. We'll catch you next time around. Bye.